Greetings, and my name is Kajara. Well, I might as well start with the moot since you mentioned that. And moot is actually a name. It's a word means mother, so it's more of a title than a name for me. And then my name is Kajara Mia Nebthet. And it basically means that I have come with the power of Ra, with the purpose of fighting for freedom.
Mm-hmm. We need that right now. Right now.
Yes, we do. No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Could you also tell us about your background, your childhood, and, if you noticed anything spiritual when you were very, very young, and then just leading up to today, like how you ended up with a Kemetic path, on that spiritual path, and is your family, friends, are they into spirituality as well? Could you explain to us?
Okay. Okay. Don't give me too many questions at the same time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You want me to go all the way back to my childhood.
Yeah. You know how it is, like when you're first into spiritual things, and sometimes you're a little different than everybody else.
Yes, well, that is how it seems to go, and I definitely was that different girl. From the time that I was a child, I was the only child. So, only children, we talk to ourselves quite a bit because we don't have, brothers and sisters to talk to. And I found in doing that I wasn't just talking to myself as a child. And so I realized that I had energy. I didn't know exactly. I probably thought it was angels, because I heard people talk about angels at that time. So I knew I had energy around me, spirits around me, and I communicated with them from an early age. And so I would say I was divinely guided. Growing up in Chicago, you basically grow up with a little bit of consciousness because it's all around, and you have an opportunity to live in a black community, or at least at that time. And so, I would say a level of consciousness was awakened in me as a child. I had an opportunity to go to a Baptist church, and I went to the Kingdom Hall. And as a child, I looked at both of the pastors who were speaking, and I said to myself, I don't think they're telling the whole story. I just, could sense that, especially since the two of them had similarities, but they had conflicts. So it basically rose questions in me as a child, and I knew that if they both thought that they were right, that either they were both right or that they were both wrong, or at least about that. So, it kind of led me on this quest. I was, again, raised up in Chicago, so we had the Science Museum, which at that time was free, and we could just go there, and I did. I would go to the museums and just roam, and I was attracted to the Kemetic things when I saw them, like at the Field Museum. And so it just, I guess you could say, made an impression on me, and it continued to pull me. And as I grew older, I continued on my quest for the truth. And so I went through many spiritual systems. I went to worship with the Muslims, with the Rastas, the Buddhists, the Yoruba, the Akan, probably a few more places. And I found a commonality. I found that they all teach people to live right. So here in this day, I don't consider myself any one thing. I'm a part of everything, and I consider myself to just live the righteous way or live in Ma'at, which, you know, that's what we're supposed to do no matter what we believe. That's what they teach anyway.
Right.
So, I just continued on that path. I had the spirit guides, and when you are in tune with the spirit guides, they kind of like open certain doors for you that may not be open for everyone. And so, you know, I walked through those doors and found myself being initiated. In fact, I went through about 3 initiations in 3 years. And so I had what we call a quickening, and just went, you know, very deep into my spiritual practice and began to, I have to say I was a teacher by my profession. I taught in African-centered schools when I finished college, and went on to, it wasn't in harmony with my spirit to teach in the public schools. So I stayed more in the private sector with the African-centered schools. And then after I went through the initiations, it led me to teach other things, more spiritual things. So I was attuned as a Reiki master in the year 2000. My teacher initially was to attune me to level 1 and 2. And in doing that, he said his spirit guides told him that he should give me the level 3 attunement at that time as well, and that I had the gift. And so he did. And when I look back on it, I'm going to tell you, it was not the easiest path, because it was like so much coming at me at one time and so much required of me at, you know, the same time. So, but I did continue to walk the path, and it led me to working with some beautiful people, Queen Afua, and I did facilitate Sacred Women Gateways for over 10 years. I also got to work with Dr. Laela Africa and went through his African Holistic Consultant Program. So he was, you know, the two of them as teachers really, really gave me a good foundation as far as working with our people and what we need to do. And so with that and some of the many other elders who shared with me, and then the work, because you can read all day long, but if you don't do that work, you really won't get too far. You really, you know, kind of find yourself stuck in this place, in which we could say, you know, I'm sure we all know people who are stuck, because we're meant to use the information to change our lives. And so I really did. I actually had a rough childhood, and I had a lot of things to heal from. So healing myself was my greatest motivation. And that path led me to gain the experience to be able to help heal others.
I would never, ever guess that you had been through anything. You are so balanced and even. You know what I mean? It's like, even the way that you talk, I would never, but I got a clue, I got an inkling, because I used to watch so many of your videos. And then you were talking, and then I'm always saying to myself, I love a woman that's been through something. Because it's like you can feel that she went through it, and either it hurt or she overcame. And if she overcame, then she's got more power. You know what I mean? And you were talking about some things, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, wow, did you really go through all those things? But you seem so even, like you just floated right out of heaven. You know, but you were giving advice to other women. And that's how I knew you had been through some things yourself. You know, in your counseling, how do you feel that, how can I articulate it? How do you feel that the practices and the real life mesh together in terms of your counseling? Because a lot of people, like you said, especially I think in certain high spiritual practices, the people really do, they take on the cloak of it, but the nitty gritty part of life, it doesn't seem to be there. How did you mesh your practices so it wasn't just lip service? And how do you help young women do that?
That is a really good question, and I know it's been a topic on social media lately.
Now you know why. You know why.
Yes. I mean, it goes back to what I was saying. It goes back to that practice. So, like, for instance, when the book Sacred Woman came out in the year 2000, I got the book. I don't remember the month, but I know that within 3 months' time, I had women meeting in my house going through the practices in the book. I was just compelled to do that because I needed it for myself, and I knew other women needed it. So, I just had that drive to do that, and I think a lot of people have lost the drive because of TV and, eating a lot of heavy foods and just drama. It can definitely take your fire away, take your passion away. But that's really what it's about. And that, I've actually been challenged a couple of times recently, and I was like, hold up. My life at 24 years old, when I started growing this, it wasn't any other women around me growing locks. Do you have any idea how much grief I had to bear walking around with my nappy hair at a time when everybody, all black women wanted straight hair at that time. So, this is very real to me. This is my life. You know what I'm saying? I made a commitment in my early 20s to work to uplift my people, and I meant it. And I mean, I buy from black businesses, and I don't celebrate holidays, and I don't eat meat. And you know what I'm saying? I pray on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lifestyle. You can't just dress a certain way or change your name or, you know what I'm saying, get on social media and perpetrate like you're all of this, but you're, going home and just living like everybody else.
Yeah, I remember 20-something years ago when someone else had natural hair, like you gave each other the nod because it was just the two of you and that was it. And you knew you was going to go home and no one had natural hair. Everybody looked at you if you did choose to speak to your family about things like this, everybody rolled their eyes and they're like, okay, who set her off? You know what I mean? It was like you were in it by yourself. But look at what's happening now where there's so many people. I mean, I never thought I would see this many natural head vegetarians. I remember when only Kemetic pretty much was vegetarian. Everybody else kind of turned up their nose at it. And it's like everybody's vegetarian now. It's so many things that have changed. It's like the hard work that other generation did. It really did grow.
We've been waiting. We have been waiting. Like I said, I've been in it for 24 years. I thought everybody was going to jump in when I did. And so I'm very grateful to see, like you said, a lot of people with natural hair and embracing a different lifestyle and not just being vegetarian or vegan, but, turning away from the church. And you know what I'm saying? It really changes that are happening that I'm just so grateful to see finally because I've been praying for it for a long time.
The 90s looked so good when everybody started getting into this and that, and I said, this is it. Everybody has turned around and everything, but it didn't really take off. Certain people came in and most of them never went back, but it didn't really change the whole mainstream. Some of the knowledge became a little bit more mainstream. But it's like the people didn't come in the way I thought it did either. I swore that everybody was going to be there. But I find that there's more people doing it now. and it looks like it's real to me, but they're not in groups all the time. They're individual. They're off to themselves, I see. So it's like before a lot of people joined the group, they joined the temple, or they initiated, or they did things like that. Now I see a lot of individual practice. Do you think that's a good thing? Have you noticed it in the first place? And do you think it's a good thing, or do you think it would be better to be more conventional?
I have noticed that, to be honest with you, and I think that it is a product of a lot of people having the YouTube, whereas before you had to go sit in front of a teacher to get that knowledge, or just read it for yourself. And so now everyone could just go online, but the problem with that is that everyone that's online is not given, what the people really, really need. And so it's really caused a lot of confusion in the community. And so I think it's not helpful, first of all, because being African is not being individualistic. We're supposed to be interdependent and interconnected with each other. And so I would like to see more of us. In fact, that's one of the things that I'm saying with my temple is people are disconnected and inactive. And I remember a time when I used to do things. I mean, when I had those Sacred Women's Circles in Chicago, in Virginia, I had almost 30 women in my house coming to those meetings every week after week after week. And so it was just a different level, maybe because, like I said, it just wasn't as available, so people were more hungry for knowledge and for enrichment, feeding the spirit and the mind. But it's not good for our unity because we're not unified. We're fighting each other right now.
It's so true. I went to Osira Set back in the day, and Queen Afua used to come by sometimes, and different people would come by because we were in Brooklyn. And I went there for off and on for about 20 years, and then I too went to myself. I went off myself. And then, at first it was nice because, when you're together with people, you bump heads a little bit and whatever. But, I miss the rituals. I miss the drum. You know what I mean? And it's like this being by myself, it really doesn't feel very African at all. So when you said that, it really sparked something in me because I've been doing the solitary thing too. And it's, I need some company. I need to have other people, other people feed your spirit when you're around you're doing rituals together. And when you're by yourself, it's really not the same. I like the fact that there's so many people online, but it's not quite the same. It's not the same as having a ritual and doing things like that together. Oh, yeah, you made me have memories.
You also made me because I say all the time, I miss those drums. When we used to get together, it would always be somebody drumming, and that would spark us to dance, and that is healing. That's our way of worshiping and celebrating, and freeing ourselves from the misery of the world and stuff like that. So we need that.
Yes. Every ritual you come out.
I'm sorry. I was going to ask the way it goes in Raseki, because I've been following you on Instagram for a long time now. And I always see that y'all have healing retreats, crystal retreats, and trips to Arizona, which is, I know, spiritually speaking, it's a hot spot. There's a lot of high energy out there. And I was looking on the site and I saw that there's like how you were saying earlier, all paths really just converge into one. It's kind of a two-part question. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to start with, is there an initiation to be a part of Raseki? Or if I practice, let's say I practice the Ifa tradition, or I practice hoodoo or root work or conjure, could I still be a part of the community?
Yes. to your second question, I have to answer first. We have members who are Muslim, Christian. I've had 5% even come to my classes. And then, of course, the Akan, the Voodoo, the Yoruba. So it is, we are open to anyone who wants to heal, and we respect each other. We're not trying to say, hey, you shouldn't be that. We are working from a Kemetic perspective, but we consider that everything comes from Kemet. So it's all a part of Kemet.
Oh, that's, yep.
And to your first question, the attunement, which is a blessing and the passing of the energy from the teacher to the student, and that basically is an initiation. I mean, going through the whole class, because initiation is going from one place of consciousness to a higher level of consciousness. So, when you go through our classes, you will come out with a higher level of consciousness.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a lot of us who, I see a lot of this happening now more lately, and I don't know where it's coming from, but people are actually denying the power and the healing ability of natural materials like stones, dirt, that sort of thing. They're completely saying that there's no healing power in crystals. There's no way that can help you do anything different than what you can do for yourself. So I want to catch these sisters before they get caught up in that false information. Can you explain how crystals help, how they work, and how that energy flows between the crystal and the person?
Yes, I can. I love crystals, and I can testify that they work in so many beautiful ways. The crystals are made of different minerals, and the minerals are in our body. We are made of the earth, right? So here we are now eating GMO food, drinking poisonous water, breathing air that's got chemicals in it. And basically, we need every natural thing we can get at this time to keep us balanced and healthy. So we can actually absorb minerals from the crystals. Every time you hold a crystal in your hand and you'll feel a little sweat, that's your hand feeding from the crystal. And it's going to go into your bloodstream and feed you those minerals that you have been missing because you're eating GMO packaged processed food that has no minerals at all. So on a very basic level, and I saw some information about people talking about crystals, and it's always some negative energy that comes out to try to counteract the positive. So here it is. The truth on the spiritual level about crystals is that because of the mineral content, and it's a combination of minerals that creates a certain crystal, which creates a certain vibration of energy, because it is a living, it's not breathing, but it has energy because it came from the earth and it has not been processed. And energy does not die. So it has energy. So spiritually, the different combination of minerals create a certain vibration that radiates from the crystals that we can pick up because we are also made of energy, and it can alter, balance, or shift our own personal energy because they radiate energy from them. It's like an aura. Everybody should know that we have an aura that surrounds us. We can't see it, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. Just like the crystals and the energy from the crystals. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. But if you work with them, you will see for yourself that they work. So, again, I would say we can't just go by YouTube or not even just what we're reading. We have to practice. If you don't, you think they don't work, try it for yourself and see.
I have a question
of exercise. Listeners, let me just give them this quick exercise. For anybody who has heart issues, like you've had your heart broken before, sleep with rose quartz crystal for about a month, and I bet you will see that your heart would just, somehow it's going to feel lighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, speaking of crystals, you have some fly jewelry all over your various sites. And I read that you make jewelry. Did you make all those pieces or most of those pieces that are all over your site?
I did, yes. I did make most of the pieces that are on my site. I've been making jewelry for over 20 years as well.
The jewelry that you make is primarily talismans. Do you ever make any other kind of jewelry, or is every single piece have a spiritual purpose?
Well, at this time, because I have been making it so long, I really do only make spiritual jewelry or pieces. So, I have the crystal necklaces because I know people need crystal energy, and then I do make ankhs as well because, again, I know people need that life energy. So, and just because I've been doing it so long and I'm not as into it as I used to be, so I just make a few things because I don't like to just sit still and do nothing.
Yeah, of course. But that's how it's like all the jewelry had a purpose, and then it didn't come to be cute till, recently. But everything I've ever seen always had a purpose in African culture, and in Kemet specifically. So I think that's a good way to be because it's going to affect you anyway. So you might as well be thinking about how,
That's right.
Yeah. Let me see. I had another question I wanted to ask you about. I wrote it down. I had another question I wanted to ask about. I wanted to ask you about when you were at, I love this brother, you were at the Akan festival and you were talking in front of the people and you talked about how the ancestors said that every family of ours was going to have somebody because, we've been through a lot of stuff and we got pulled away from our culture a lot. It's like, so how are we going to make it back? And you spoke about every family having someone that could help, that the ancestors sent to help. Could you elaborate on that?
Okay. That is actually a message that I received during a class that I was teaching. And after teaching for a few years, I realized that the people who were coming, they were spiritually guided. And just hearing their stories and hearing them talk, and then after listening to a few different groups of people, I noticed that all of these people have a similar story.
Yes.
Story. And so it occurred, or like I said, it came to me that these people who come, it's like, those who have the ears to hear, they hear it and they come. And those are the ones who were chosen to make that link for their families because everyone else is too busy thinking about other stuff. They don't have the heart or the mindset to do such a thing. But those ones who actually want to help people, because that's what my classes are about, teaching healers, those are the ones who will say, yeah, I am going to help and talk to my ancestors. And, that's that process of making that reconnection. And that is part of our duty, I would say, especially when we become aware of our history and what happened to us coming here to America. We should all know that we have to do something for our ancestors' spirits, because they went through some stuff. But again, everybody doesn't have that mindset to even consider it. So, that's where that message came from. And if you heard it and it stuck to you like that, you can best believe that you are that one for your family.
Yeah. I've been hearing something similar as well. Like when we were talking about you're the weird one because you're the one that sees the spirits, or you're the one that is so interested in these things, or you're the one who has some spiritual gift and you're into things the rest of your family isn't into. I remember in New York, like in the 90s, there was a lot of help to find that path. All these books came back out of publication, and they were literally on the streets, and you could buy them. You can go in the subway, and they were African masks, and we didn't know what we were doing at all. We would pick clothing, and we would put on the men's clothing when we were women, or we would take the warrior mask and put it in the baby's room, or we would just do everything. And some of the people from the continent, they were just laughing at us. It was like, you're not doing it right. But when we would pick up these things and we would want to know more about our heritage, all these little coincidences started happening. You just happen to run into this one who put you on top of that one, and then you listen to the radio that day, and then suddenly you found you were at the temple. And it was harder to find your way then because there was no internet, like you said. So everything had to happen to get you to this meeting place, or this book, or this whatever it is that you happen to have. And everything would happen like a coincidence. And the next thing you know, you were there in a room full of other people who had the same coincidences and went through very similar journey, very similar. They felt like they were in it by themselves. And then all of you end up sitting in a room together and learning. It's such a magical process, and it feels a little lonely at first, but when you get together with other people, it's very special. It makes you feel like you have a great responsibility, to help, turn things around, and it's working. Look at all these people, so I don't know. It's just a good thing. It's a powerful thing.
I have to say, I remember coming through New York and catching that spiritual frequency, and you end up walking by someone and they got a little message for you, and you go over here and somebody, brings you, hey, let's go to this spot, and then next thing you know, you in a sure enough cipher. Yes. And that is how it works, especially when you are on that path. They just kind of like, hey, come on, let's go.
Yep. It just floated away. I remember when Sarah said when, it was 20 years ago, and it was like somebody would catch a spirit, and I didn't understand anything about how anything works, but you would just kind of catch it like a contact. You know what I mean? And then later on they had more and more classes so you could understand the science behind it. But I remember in the beginning when I just got there, you just felt it all the time. You just kind of felt what was going on. And it was really a very powerful time. It was scary because I didn't know what was happening, but it was really a powerful time. I kind of missed those days a little bit. It was really nice.
It was. I know exactly what you mean. I really do.
Really, really great. Could you tell us about your temple, the Raseki Arts Temple, and could you talk about the classes that you have, and like if people wanted to learn certain things, what kind of things that you offer, at the temple, and do you offer things online, or what do you offer?
Okay. Raseki Arts Temple is a spiritual organization that is here to promote health and wellness and our culture and the restoration of ma'at in our community.
Yeah.
And we do that through our classes and retreats, and we also have books and, like you mentioned, other products. We specialize in the Kemetic Reiki classes, and a lot of people have started hearing about Reiki. It is a beautiful energy healing system. So we use the universal energy and our own personal energy. And in Raseki, it's a little bit more than just ourselves. We also work with sound therapy and crystal therapy and aromatherapy. And we do all of these things to help shift our energy. So, for example, when you're feeling bad, if you turn on a comedy show and laugh, your energy is going to shift. Or even if you turn on a certain song that really moves you, it can make you feel better because the energy behind the laughter, the energy behind the certain music is healing. So using those same principles, we work with natural things to bring about healing. And now this is the ancient way of healing because, you know, there was times in ancient days before we had hospitals with all those fancy machines that they have now. I mean, we're thankful that they have them, but before they had them, we still had to heal.
Okay.
So the way that we did it, we used herbs, of course, and we used song, we used dance, we used the sun, we used natural things in our healing process. So basically, that is what we're doing now, and also what we share with our people, because we are sick as a people. Physically sick, we are mentally sick, we are emotionally sick at this point because I don't watch the hip hop and all that kind of stuff on TV. But from what I hear and the last shows that I did watch like that, that's emotional sickness that we are watching, you know, on a regular basis. And so it makes us also emotionally sick because it's a programming. And so we can't always just take a pill to heal something like that. We have to have some other things to do to break that cycle and to help us wake up, you know what I mean? And that's what Kemetic Reiki is about. The level 1 class is a class that focuses on the self-healing. And again, we look at it in a holistic way. So we're healing the mind, the body, and the spirit. We talk about the laws of Ma'at. We talk about the way we should be eating. We talk about setting up our altars, working with our ancestors, making spiritual baths, clearing our aura. Everybody should really know how to clear their aura. You know, we go out here in the world and, you know, a lot of people go to work in all kind of crazy environments. You rub up against people, even going to the grocery store. You could rub up against a killer and not even know it. You have a little bit of that filth come home with you on your aura. And so we have to know how to clear that stuff so that it won't just be hanging out in our houses or on us, because it can. Because, again, energy does not just die. It's going to just transfer. It'll go with you. It's okay. Especially if it feels like it's going to have fun with you. Ooh, it's definitely going home with you. You know what I'm saying? So the level 1 class is like basic stuff, how to make a spiritual bath, how to set your ancestral altar up, stuff that all of us should know. Then we have the Kemetic Reiki level 2, which is for those who want to help heal others, because some people have the drive to do it themselves and for themselves. Some people need help, and they need someone to show them the way, hold their hand through the process. And, you know, that's okay, because we go through a lot of stuff on Earth in these human bodies. So for those who want to do that, level 2 will give you some tools and techniques that are specific to our needs. You know, Kemetic Reiki is specific to people of color. I think it might be one of the only traditions that is just for us, and we use our traditions in it. So as far as healing modalities goes. And then we also have a few online classes, because I have a video on YouTube that talks about working with the ancestors, but that's just a little information. So I have other classes like that for people who want to learn more, like aromatherapy, ear candling, stuff like that. We offer online classes. We also offer retreats. As you mentioned, we have a crystal retreat coming up in March. We're going to go crystal digging in Arkansas. So for those who, if you really want to see the power of the crystals, this is a great place to see it, because you'll get to see how they grow. And I'm telling you, the first time that I went, I did have a spiritual moment, because it's like red clay everywhere, and it rained before we went out there, and it stopped raining, but it left all of these little crystals, which had been, they came up to the top of the earth because of the rain, and it was just like, I'm standing on just all these crystals. It was just such a beautiful experience.
So, I never thought about where they came from. Wow.
Oh, yeah, it's real deep. It's really, really deep to see. I mean, if you really like crystals, you would be interested to see how they grow, and, you know, to have an opportunity to pick them out of the earth yourself. It's beautiful. So we are open for registrations for that, and that is March 24th to the 27th. And we have, actually, I just posted a retreat today. We're going to be going to Brazil in August. We are going to do level 1 and 2 class there, and also just take a tour of the town. We'll be in Rio de Janeiro. So that is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. We are going back to Sedona in September. And I feel like I forgot something. Oh, we have a solstice retreat as well. We usually go to the beach for the summer solstice so that we can salute the sun, and we do our classes at that time. And that is a beautiful, beautiful retreat as well. It's usually in South Carolina, like right outside of Charleston, that we do that. And with our books, we do have the books for the classes that I spoke about, the Kemetic Reiki Level 1 and 2. They have books that go with them that are available on our store site. So if you want to register for our retreats, you can visit us at rasekihealing.com, and that's RASEKIHEALING.com. And we have our books and other products at the Raseki store site. And we have the Kemetic Reiki Level 1 and 2. We have a beautiful book of prayers. It's called Speaking with Spirit, and it is over 100 prayers from ancient Kemet to West Africa, and prayers from here as well. It's a very, very powerful book. All prayers before Jesus. And also, we have a recipe book for those who want to eat and live a more natural lifestyle. It's called Recipes for Elevation. We have a book. Yeah, the recipe book is unique because we do have recipes for food items, smoothies, tonics, salads, vegan meals. And then we also have recipes for personal products like natural toothpaste or natural deodorant, body butter. and stuff like that. Yes, because if you want to live natural, then you can't be using all of that stuff from the store because it's not natural. You know what I mean? That's a part of that process of shifting. You have to release that stuff, and learning how to make your own is really the best way to go, especially if you have a family and stuff, you know, because it could be much more affordable when you make it.
Yes. Yes. I like that.
Yeah, well, you know, I have 4 children, so I had to learn to make things for myself, and I wanted them to be natural. You know, I didn't want to put Vaseline or petroleum products on my children. So, okay, I got all the way off the subject.
That's okay. That's okay.
I have 2 children's books. One of them is called I Get Energy from the Sun. It's a beautiful picture book. It talks about energy and a nice way to talk about energy with your children and how the sun feeds basically everything. And then we also have Light as a Feather, the 42 Laws of Ma'at for Children, which is, I might say it's my favorite because it was beautifully illustrated by Brother Adolfo. And we translated the laws of Ma'at to a language that children can understand. So, like I just said, I'm a mother, and I used to, when my children get an attitude, I would say, go read those laws of Ma'at. I have a poster on my wall. And, of course, they would stumble with the words when they're young. And so I was inspired to create a poster and book for children because it's important. It's so important for them to learn those laws at an early age. And especially when they're watching those TV programs that teach them otherwise. So I really would like to get this book all over the world if I can.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna put the page. We're gonna put it on the page and share it and make sure that people see it.
Well, I appreciate that, definitely.
No problem.
So we definitely want to see what happens when the children get a more positive message. Can you imagine the things that they would do with themselves? So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, that's
I wanted to know, do you have any suggestions for anybody, any sister right now, anywhere she is, at home, at work, just getting this information for the first time, what can she do right now to help her get back in tune with her nature, with her own self, with her heart, with healing? Like, what can we do right now just to get started on the path?
Okay. That is an excellent question. I would say a good place to start is your morning ritual.
Okay.
The morning time is that divine time that we can connect with the higher forces, and that some people say you could do it between 3 and 6. I'll just say between the hours of 3 and 6, when the earth is a little bit more quiet, is a time that you can connect with the higher spirits, your spirit guides, your higher ancestors, and even deities and orishas. I mean, you could connect with them anytime, but the easiest time is early in the morning. And you want to prepare yourself for your day. So starting off with simple prayers, meditation, little stretching and exercise, reading something positive, and then even maybe doing some positive affirmations. That's opening the way for you to have a good and balanced day because you have prepared yourself properly, spiritually, right? And in doing that, you'll find that you'll have a more spiritual, magical day. That's going to be the day that somebody just brings you flowers, or somebody invites you to some special event that's going to change your life or something like that. And so you'll find that if you do it every day, you'll have a series of amazing days. And that one day that you skip that morning ritual is going to be the day that your shoe breaks when you walking across the street. You know what I'm saying? You're going to lose your car keys. You'll be late to the meeting because you didn't prepare yourself. You didn't put your spiritual armor on. You didn't take the time to feed your spirit, your mind, and even your body with a little stretching. So anything can happen. You just leave yourself open for the world now. So that is very important in changing, because once you, like we said, once you open yourself up to spirit, they're going to take the lead and take your hand and you'll be on your way. But you have to give them the invitation and opportunity to do that. And if you are never, like the world is set up to distract us. We think we're supposed to get up and rush to work. And when we come home, we got to, take our clothes off and just try to sit down and relax, because we done stressed out and gave our energy up to someone else all day. And now we're tired. We can't do too much. We're going to eat, watch TV, and go to bed for the most part. But that's really not living. So it's like a distraction from life. And you have to tap into the other part, because that's all the material world. So what about the other part of life, the spiritual world? You see what I mean?
Yeah. It's like somebody came and took over, and you're just on this hamster wheel, just running around and around. And that's not what life is supposed to be. I think what you just said, that's it in a nutshell. And I think that's what our ancestors offer us. They offer us the trip out of the matrix, back to real life, nature, harmony. You know what I mean? Because it's not here. This isn't it. The mainstream life we're supposed to be living, this is just to make someone else rich and to keep us distracted so we don't notice that we're living to make somebody else rich and powerful. And I think our ancestors are what takes us out of the matrix and gets us back on track. I think what you just said is everything. It's just everything.
And then I would add too, excuse me, but I have to also add, because I'm hearing Queen of Poo's voice in my ear, is the purification that leads us to liberation, or liberation through purification. So also clearing our bodies, because we are eating toxic food and drinking poisonous water and breathing toxic air. So we have to be constantly clearing ourselves from all those toxins. And that, too, is something that can help us to raise our vibration, because toxins weigh you down and make you feel heavy.
And give you a funky attitude. So, yeah, it's true. It's true. Sister Cuchara, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your energy with us. This was a beautiful, beautiful talk that we had. And I know, like, all the other sisters in our audience are going to really, really appreciate the things that you had to say, and also checking out your website and your classes, because those classes are like everything. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share with your listeners. And I look forward to seeing you all at a class sometime soon.
Yes, you will. You most definitely will. And you'll see us around Facebook. We want to share your books and your classes and all the other things that you have going on, because people need them. They really need them.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that, truly.
Thank you so And have a great and blessed evening. Thank you.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.